Alrighty, so ladies first, VerdaMay, we're gonna start with you. Were you born and raised in Guttenberg?
Yeah, and up Miners Creek.
Okay. And on a farm?
Well, just a house.
Okay.
I don't,
And no farm animals or anything?
no, we rented the house from a pet sheep.
Okay. So where did you go to school at then?
Up here, I started kindergarten.
In public school?
Yes.
And how did you get to school? The bus?
You know.
Did you get to school on the bus, or how did you get to school?
Heavens no, we didn't have buses, we walked.
Yeah, everybody walked.
Yeah, in fact, my sister came home from school and got me to go to kindergarten.
So she was in school and she came down and came home and got you to take you to kindergarten.
Yeah, and we're up over the hill and back down Beagles Road.
Okay, so you went, that was your
Up
route?
the hill,
Up Beagle Hill Road?
yeah,
Okay, and then down, what they call Second Hill, is that correct? Now they refer to it as a second hill, like a sleigh riding hill?
We did all the time, yeah.
Okay.
That was the second hill, yeah.
yeah, because we would go halfway up Beagles Hill, and then we had a path that would come out up on, what's Acre Street now, and then we could go back down. But if the weather was bad, we had to take the whole road.
Okay, so when you were a kid, what'd you do for entertainment?
Well, we mostly played games, went sleigh riding, and what was it, like Fox and Goose?
Fox and Goose, yeah.
Red Rover.
Yeah,
Fox and Goose.
Yeah, you made a circle in the
that's a
snow.
winter game, yeah.
Yeah, you made a circle in the snow and then you divide it like a pie and then you chase each other.
Would you bring around Rosie? Bring around Rosie?
Not too much.
Okay, so you made a circle in the snow and then separated in like a pie, and then you chased each
One
other.
person was it, and then they had to try to catch you.
So, but did that person have to stay within that circle? Okay, so whoever was it had to stay in the circle?
Well, you could run around the circle or cut through the,
Oh, the sections
so
that
you-
were
Right.
pie.
just so you got away from the person that was it.
Was it? Huh?
Because there'd sometimes be 2 or 3 kids, 3 or 4 kids
Yeah.
running in the same circle. But they had to divide it into,
Yeah. And then there was
Pizza
one,
cuts.
something about Red Rover that you
Red Rover send.
sent somebody over and then they had to try to break through the
Break
hedge.
through their line, yeah.
Well, Red Rover I'm familiar with, but this Fox and Goose has got me a little bit stymied. Okay, so you have a big circle and then you separate it into these sections
Well, the circle was like a path and then these were,
where you could cut across.
yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
It was just kind of more or less like tag
yeah.
is really what it was. So whoever was it, they had to tag somebody else,
Yeah,
and then they would chase.
So did you guys grow up in the same, pretty much the same generation?
yeah.
I think we're about the same
I'm
age.
93 and.
I'll be 92 next month.
Okay, so then when you were kids, that's what you played. What about when you guys were teenagers, VerdaMay? We'll just start with you.
Well, then we had a movie theater and, well, we used to roller skate a lot.
Where'd you roller skate at?
Street,
And that was the ones with the key?
the old-fashioned kind, yeah. Yeah, Betty Carrier and I, we lived on north end of town by Lakeside. And we would roller skate downtown until one day we got too close together and got our skates tangled, and that ended our skating for a while.
So
Oh,
then
we
you
used to
eventually
play
lived up
right-
on the north end of town.
What?
Eventually you lived up in the north end of town.
I lived all over town. If you lived south, you lived in Southtown. If you lived north, you lived up by Lakeside.
It wasn't north and south, huh?
We didn't have street names or anything.
No.
So you didn't have any street names. At what time did they do that then? When did they install, you know?
Boy, I can remember when they did it, but
Yeah, they were just naming the streets when we moved out of town. We moved out in '62, so it was just before that. Because we lived over on Bluff Street, but I live over by the hill.
Okay.
well, I
So-
think actually the streets had names, they just didn't have
No.
any.
I think the signs
Sign
went up in
posts.
the late 50s.
Okay, signs went up in the
I
late
think.
50s.
I think that's what
That sounds about right, I think.
I remember
too.
seeing a thing in the Echoes of the Past that said street signs going up, and it was like late 50s. Must have been last year. It was how many years ago?
Because I remember I came to town one day to go to rummage sale at 6-something Bluff Street. I didn't know where it was, and it was where we lived.
It was where you lived.
In fact, we didn't have nothing over by the hill. The road ended by, well, just before you get to where Barb and Bob Herman used to live, because that's where we lived. We bought that house for $600 in 2 lots.
Okay, so just a second. The road ended where? Who lives now?
Huh?
Who lived there? Okay, where did the road end? You said the road ended?
Do you know who lives over there? In that
Okay.
house where Bob and Barb Herman used to live? You know where Eilers lives now?
Yep.
Well, not
Well-
not the one down by Betty, not by Littlefeld's, the other one.
Yes. Yep.
Well, we owned that house. The guy built on an addition, a big, did you remember where Amy,
Culper.
Culper?
Yep.
Yeah, well, we built the small part.
Okay.
And then she built on, yeah, that's.
Yep.
where-
Okay. Meshers live there now.
Okay.
Because when we bought that, we borrowed the money to buy it, and I told Bob, I said, we'll never live long enough to pay this
Pay it
back.
$600.
Yeah, but you didn't make much money. You
Yeah.
worked all day to buy a pair of overalls.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody says, oh, well, everything was cheaper then. Well, it was, but we didn't have
You
any
nickel.
money.
didn't get the money either.
I say a nickel.
You
was a
worked for
lot
50
then.
cents an hour.
So that was you and your husband Bob bought that house?
No, Sharon was our daughter. She
But-
was about 6 months old when we moved there.
Okay, so it was you and your husband and your daughter, Sharon.
And then
And how much were you?
We built on, but we rented from Maggie Mosher. She lives where Merle lives now. And we rented an apartment for $15 a month.
Okay, from her before you moved there.
Yeah, when we rebuilt our house.
Oh, while you rebuilt it, okay. Okay, so where were you working at the time?
What?
Where did you work? Were you working when you were married, or did you work before you were
Oh, the
married?
eggplant.
You worked at the eggplant?
Yeah. When I was still in school, I worked at the canning factory until my dad fired me.
He did?
Yeah, Dorothy Yeager and I wanted to go to Lakeside. That was a must. And he said, if you take off and go, you're fired. When the whistle blew, you had a half hour to get ready to come to work. And the whistle blew and we didn't go, we went to Lakeside.
Good. So you were on the evening shift, huh?
Well, no, whenever they blew the whistle, it was corn, and then you get enough corn to can,
Okay.
then they call you to work.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
His mother worked there too,
Yeah,
but
my mother worked there.
I wasn't old enough, I just worked in the packing thing.
So that could be any time of the day or night, huh?
Right.
That's an interesting concept. Talk about being married to your job.
Well,
Okay, and you guys didn't show up because you wanted to go to Lakeside.
Yeah, we did too. Yeah, what was it, like $1 maybe to get in Lakeside?
Oh, I don't
Or
remember.
was it even that much?
50 cents maybe.
But a lot
I
of times.
can't remember what it was.
Well, when tell her about Lawrence Welk being there.
Well, he played here several times. Well, they used to have some big bands. Fell
Lawrence
off the
Welk,
stage.
Tiny Hill. Anybody else? Lawrence Welk, Tiny Hill.
Oh, Ted Weems,
Ted Williams.
Weems,
How do you spell that?
Weems, I would think.
Okay.
Who were some of the other big bands? They used to have,
Yeah, I can't remember who all it was.
they had a lot of big bands would be playing in Chicago, you know, and they'd run over here to Lakeside for a one-night stand.
Uh-huh. Who was playing the night the floor collapsed?
I don't remember
I
that.
can't
I
either.
remember the night, but I don't remember who was playing.
And you don't, okay, so what happened when the floor collapsed?
It just went down. It was like
Right up
a
in front of
beam
the
broke
stage,
underneath
yeah.
or something. Well, they used to have huge crowds there. That
Yeah.
place would be packed.
Yeah,
And then with,
Sure.
and
Jumping
everybody wanted to be on the north end because
That
that's
was
where
where the
those great
stage
big
was, yeah.
furnaces were.
And it was warm there, huh?
yeah.
So Pockey, what about you? You're 92 years old, born and raised here?
Actually, I was born in Littleport, but I only lived there a few months of my life, and then they moved to Guttenberg. And my dad was a blacksmith. I don't know why he ever went to Littleport to start with, because he had a shop here in town, a blacksmith shop.
Okay.
Just born.
Okay, so
yeah.
did he have the blacksmith shop where you lived or just downtown?
No, he had, well, originally he worked for, what was his
You ever
name that
worked
had
for
the blacksmith?
Helbersheimer?
Herbersheimer, yeah.
How do you spell that?
Because I never,
I have no idea.
We'll look it up.
It
He was a fire chief at one time.
and it's Herbersheimer?
It
Helbersheimer.
was John Herbersheimer, yeah.
Okay,
We can look it up later.
okay.
Yeah, he had a blacksmith shop. It was where Fishback had his office, you know, that area. Right in there between that and Walks someplace, there was a wagon shop and a blacksmith shop.
Was that in between where Dr. Hour's house is and where Glennie Mosier used to live?
Oh, no.
Well, that's
This-
where my dad worked for him.
Oh, John, that's where John lived.
Oh,
Yeah, he lived up there, but they had the shop downtown here.
On that block of where Fishback used to be, on that one block?
Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
where Meyer
They
Mechanical
had
is now.
A blacksmith shop and a wagon shop there,
Okay,
way back.
okay.
And then, but John did live up there, I don't know who lives in that house now, but it's right behind Glennie Moser's old house, yeah.
Okay, so you went to school, public school or St. Mary's?
I went to public school.
Okay. Not too far for you to walk, huh?
Oh, yeah, I lived up in, almost where I'm living now, when I was in school.
Yeah. Not
That's
as far as VerdaMay had to walk. though.
Oh, no.
well, we moved to town after I was like third grade, something like
Okay,
that.
okay. So any brothers and sisters?
I have 3 sisters.
Okay, and what'd you guys do for fun while you were growing up?
Well, we played all kinds of games. We did a lot of, like she said, roller skating. And in those days, in the wintertime, everybody ice skated. Them ponds would be full of kids at night skating. And we played some of the same, the hide and seek and, you know, run, sheep, run and all that kind of stuff.
Went sleigh riding up in the dumps.
Sleigh riding, yeah. And we used to go to what they call the second hill. We used to go over there and sleigh ride.
And go swimming in the river.
We always swam in the river, yeah. In fact, as kids, we spent most of our time either on the river or on the hill. We played on the hill there quite a bit. There was a big old dry run that comes down the hill, comes out right at that big stone house right at the foot of the hill. We used to climb that dry run, you know. That was our favorite thing to do, I think, over there on the hill.
And then slide back down?
Walk back down or climb back down. Some of it was pretty hard going.
Yeah, pretty steep.
But it was just a dry run, you know, there was no water in it unless they had a rain.
Was that by Yilts Brewery?
No, this is right at the foot of the North Hill.
Oh, the North Hill.
Yeah. Yeah, well, see, that's about where I lived.
Mm-hmm.
Was up in that area, and when we played over on the
Is
hill.
that about where the lookout is now?
Oh, no, it ain't that, no, that's at the top of the hill,
Right by Horseshoe Pond, right?
right,
Yeah.
right west of the swimming pool there on the hill. We spent a lot of time there.
So did either one of your mothers work outside the home?
Well,
My mother worked at Lakeside. That's why we went to Lakeside all the time.
Waitressing, bartending, just general whatever, taking
Mhm.
tickets?
Yeah.
How about your mother, Pockey?
well, my mother didn't work outside the house, except, my dad died. Oh, that would have been 1932 or 3 or somewhere along there. I was 6 years old anyhow. And by that time, my mother had me and 3 girls. So she had and that was before Social Security came into being. So in those days, you either worked or you didn't eat. So she worked at the button shop nights. They had a night crew down there then, at that time. So that's where my mother worked, until they closed.
Didn't she work at the canning factory?
She worked at the canning factory,
And
yeah.
the egg
She
plant?
worked at, I think she worked at the
Yeah,
egg
because I
factory.
worked with her at the egg plant.
Yeah,
So what year did she lose her husband?
it would have been, let's see, 33, I think.
And what, did he pass away from an accident or?
Well, he got pneumonia and died. In those days, I guess, if you got pneumonia, you had about 3 days to get better or you died.
Or you died, sure. Okay, so,
Why is she talking about school? Tell her about what you were telling us at noon about, was it Wally Reynolds?
Oh, Merle,
Or Merlau?
what's that?
that's a little story. Well, me and Merle were walking to school one day. Now, this is when we were little kids. We were probably in 3rd grade maybe, or 2nd grade. Anyhow, we were walking to school, and we came upon a snake. And Merle caught it. It was just a little garter snake probably or something. But anyhow, he wanted to take it home with him. So when we got down to the school, we went over to Doc Jenkins' garage. He had a filling station there and gas pumps and stuff, you know where that was.
Okay, and who was this again, Doc who? Doc
We called him
Jenkins?
Doc Jenkins.
Doctor, that's all I ever knew.
Yeah, anyhow, she had a candy store in the house, and he had this filling station right next door to it. Anyhow, Merle asked him for a cigar box. So he put the snake in the cigar box, and we went to school and went through whatever classes we had, and up come PE class. So we went over, we had to go over to the gym, of course, and we had our PE class. And when we got back, Merle started pulling all his books out of his desk, and he was looking around. Finally, the teacher noticed he was acting kind of funny. She says, "What's the matter, Merle? You got a problem?" "Oh," he says, "my snake is gone." And everybody went nuts in the class. The girls, they all screamed. So the teacher, I don't remember who the custodian was at that time, but
Maybe Elvis?
I don't remember who it was, but anyhow, she got the janitor, or whatever you call him, and he was supposed to find that snake, and he looked around. Of course, everybody else was out in the hall by then, you know, when he came. And so he come out. He says, I can't find anything, and he says, I think maybe he just crawled out the door when it was open. So they never ever did find the snake, and that's,
And it probably did crawl out the door.
it probably
Yeah.
did, must have, because it was never found. And anyhow, that's the snake story.
Gosh. How about you, VerdaMay? You got any funny stories about school or going to the dance at Lakeside or anything?
Not funny, no, but school was different than it is now.
How do you say that? Why do you
We
say
had
that?
one teacher for 2 grades, and he was stricter than I don't know what. And back then, my God, Guttenberg started up by school and went to cans, and you could buy anything in one block, from clothes to groceries to shoes and stuff like that.
Okay, I want to get that down. You could buy any,
I don't think there was much of anything in between any of the stores and stuff, was there?
Oh, there was a lot of stores, yeah. And,
Yeah.
yeah, everything was full in
I
those
think we
days.
counted up one day, and what was there, 10 or 12 on Front Street alone?
and that's
tavern.
Milners and groceries and bakery and,
Yeah, we always
Taverns.
had a bakery, taverns, I think, if I remember right, I read in that Guttenberg book that Walt Jacobs
Probably
published, you
is,
know.
yeah.
It seems to me at one time there was like 15 taverns in town. And when I was a kid, there was
You go
probably
to Agnes
14.
later, well, you know, you couldn't, well, you could get beer if you wanted it, but
Oh, geez.
nobody in our group ever drank that much, but we'd go to Agnes's and play pool.
Of course, when I was in school, you know, the boys thought it was smart to smoke and have a beer once in a while, and we did all that.
not holding back, huh?
You know.
And when you said, okay, you could buy anything in one block that you needed, there were 10 or 12 stores in one block
No, not on Front Street.
on Front Street, okay.
Now, between the, school, Jenkins had the first place, and then it was continuously till you got down to where Doug
Oh,
used to
down to
be.
Doug's, yeah, there was something, almost every building was something,
Yeah, and
yeah.
Leonig over on the other street.
Yeah, up by the bank. Leonig was.
Yeah.
Pretty different nowadays, isn't it?
Oh, gosh, yes, you wouldn't know it was the same town.
And there was a lot of restaurants too in those days.
Yeah.
How many would you say?
Oh, geez, well, starting up there was the Corner Cafe, and then you come down
Mahowald,
Fred's, and,
Jack Mahowald.
yeah, Jack Mahole had one, and Cans, where Doug's is now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Havel wasn't there. That was a fish market in
Yeah,
those
that was
days.
so.
The Candle Lounge was a fish market?
No.
Oh, Havel's.
Where's
Oh, okay.
Candle Lounge was Hotel Ehlers.
Okay, okay.
Oh, yeah, Ayler's.
Okay, so Corner Cafe, Fred's, Jack Mahowald's, Cans, anybody else?
Oh, yeah, there was a couple of them along here, along this block.
Along the highway in later years.
Oh, yeah, too,
yeah,
down there too, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the names of them all either.
Walters,
Mike, yeah.
no, he was up on North.
He was
End.
way up north then. Oh, that's right, there was Walters down here too.
Along the
Yeah,
highway, yeah.
yeah.
And a store way on the south end, that was Road, remember?
Yeah,
And they had the first and last chance, wasn't it?
yeah.
Tavern. Tell her about moving the gas station. Roush's.
Oh, that's where Roush's is now. That building originally sat at the foot of the North Hill. And it was a service station in those days. And for some reason or another, they moved it down to where Roush's is now. And Lorraine Horseman rented it in those days.
I can't remember if he was the first one.
I can't remember if he was the first or not, but he's the only one I can remember as being there.
Yeah. Then George Geiger.
That was a different
Down
one,
there.
though, yeah. That was-
Okay, Lorraine Horseman rented it, and then he ran it, and there was a cafe in there too,
It was
wasn't
just
there?
Right.
Service
just
station?
a garage.
Okay,
A
garages,
gas station.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Horseman, they had food there, yeah, they did,
Did he have a garage?
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought
Gas
it was
station,
a
garage,
gas-
and cafe.
Yeah, they added on to it. It was just a little bit of a thing when it wasn't uptown,
Yeah.
but they
They
like I say, I don't know if that was Lorraine or somebody else.
They owned it from the 40s to the early to the 60s, I think.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Yeah, they had it quite a while. Yeah, his wife cooked there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had food.
Okay, so Pockey, where'd you meet your wife?
That's another story. She was a blind date. I met my wife on a blind date, yep. Catherine's dad worked on a lock and dam, and she lived in Elma, Wisconsin. And Shorty, everybody calls her dad Shorty Wade, got transferred down here when Catherine was a senior in high school. That spring, when they had the prom, my sister was in her class. Catherine and Marion were classmates. Anyhow, Catherine, just being new here, she wasn't going to go to the prom. So I had just got out of the Navy the winter before that, and my sister asked Catherine, would she go to the prom with my brother? And she said, sure. So Marion asked me, would I take Catherine? I said, absolutely. And I'd only maybe seen her 2 or 3 times by then. So come prom night, I had a nice orchid for her that one of my other sisters brought from Dubuque. They used to come up for weekends all the time. So anyhow, we went to the prom, and we, like they say, it was meant to be, because we dated ever since. We got married the following June.
What year was it?
1950.
Oh,
You see, it was 49, we went to the prom, and in June of 50, we got married.
Okay, and VerdaMay, how about you? How'd you meet your husband?
well, Morris Pierce moved his sawmill up by Lakeside, and we lived a block down below. And he would see me walking in. Jim Shaw, he was always doing something stupid. So he dared Bob to come and ask me for a date to go to the movies. And I went, and then after that, we went together, and in '44, we got married.
Okay.
And walked about every place we ever went.
We walked to, I was married before I ever owned a car.
Really?
Yeah, I'd started my house even. A car wasn't that important in those days.
No. But Bob,
Yeah, I owned a house before I did a car.
he had a car, but we'd go someplace that would never start when we wanted to go home. Well, I think it was like a 35 Pontiac coupe or something like that. And then you didn't sit and text all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have any of that
No.
at all.
Okay, anything else you want to share?
Oh, yeah, I gotta tell you about our police department.
Okay. Ooh, this could be good. You got that on?
I think Bruce Luther was cop at that time.
Oh, he was cop for a long
And
time,
there
yeah.
used to be some brothers, they lived up Buck Creek, and they'd come to town, and they always went to Agnes's, and that's where they'd spend their time. Well, this night, they
I know
were
who you
kind
mean.
of drunk, and one of them saw a wheelbarrow someplace. So he got the wheelbarrow, he was pushing it up whatever street this is where Agnes is on. And the cops saw him, went and stopped him, and got him for driving a wheelbarrow drunk. Put him in jail, and it was warm, but he always had this long overcoat he wore. And he wouldn't take it off, and they said, well, it's too warm, you gotta take it off. Nope, he wouldn't do it. And they finally did talk him into it. And they said, well, why won't you take it off? Here he had his money sewed into the lining of his overcoat. He didn't want to get robbed.
Oh my gosh.
We used to go to Agnes's. Nobody ever drank, but you go in and play pool.
Yeah, we did too. When I was,
Who ran the tavern up where Soul's is now?
Blackie Mosier run one there for a
No,
while, but
it
this
was
was,
long before Blackie's time.
okay, yeah, I don't remember either.
I can't either.
I can remember Blackie being there, but
But talk about good neighbors. We had Bertha White and Everett lived over just by us over by the hill. And Bob had a birthday. Well, Bob never drank anything. So she's come up that day and she said, well, we're going all out tonight. We're going to celebrate your birthday and I'm going to celebrate it for you. Well, by the time we went home, her husband threw her over his shoulder and carried her up to the house. And the next day, about in the middle of the afternoon, she come up and she said, Bob, you had the best birthday.
He had the best birthday ever. Can you remember the two guys that came from, did you say Miners Creek or?
No, Yeager brothers.
The Yeager boys. I figured that was
They're,
them.
they're my great grandma Greaves' cousins.
Okay, so they were the Yeager boys and they came from where?
Buck
Up
Creek.
Buck Creek.
Okay,
Buck
up
Creek
Buck
they
Creek.
lived, yeah.
I never did ever know a name for them, first name. They were just the Yeager brothers.
I took care of one of them at the care center. What was his name? Hubert was one of them.
I don't know.
I think one was Alex too, wasn't there,
Mhm.
Could have
Alex?
been.
Yeah.
There was quite a few of them.
The
Yeah,
Yeager
yeah, there
boys.
was-
None of them ever married.
Right, I think you're right there too, yeah.
I knew where the house was. I've seen it different times, but
Okay, how about you, Pockey? Anything else?
Well, I can remember, I don't know just exactly how old we were, probably around 6th, 7th grade, maybe 5th, somewhere along there. It was before high school anyhow. Like I said before, we used to play on the hill quite a bit, as kids. And one day there was Laverne Mosier, he was in my class, and then there was lived right north of the Mosiers up there. His name was Lorne Becker. And I think one of Laverne's brothers was with us, Blackie. We were playing on the hill, and all of a sudden we heard a gunshot. And of course, Laverne, he screamed and hollered, and we thought, well, he's just putting on. But when he got with the rest of us, we were separated a little bit, When he got to us, he was bleeding like crazy from the back of his head. He had got
Wow.
shot. So, and I think I don't think they even went to the doctor with him that time. In those days, they didn't go to the doctor, And I think he had shot in the back of his head yet when he died.
Wow.
I know he did in school. You could feel him shot in his head.
So was somebody you think shooting at you or just shooting
I
squirrel?
think they
and
were
this?
squirrel hunting, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it wasn't on purpose.
Mhm.
It was an accident.
It was an accident.
And I can't remember for sure who did it.
I don't know.
Do you ever remember that
No,
though?
not
No, I know he used to be, he was bleeding pretty bad though when he come down the hill, and then of course we ran, and then we went over to his place, of course. And like I say, in those days, I don't think they even went to the doctor.
His mom looked in,
Because
he'll be fine.
Otherwise, I'm sure they would have taken the shot out if he'd gone to the doctor.
Yeah, you'd have thought.
Every time you went to the doctor, you got those little black pills.
Oh.
Those little black licorice pills. I think they
Oh,
cure
licorice
everything.
pills.
What were they?
I time you went to Dr. Palmer, that's what you got.
Oh,
And the little black pills.
Sugar pills. You said sugar pills.
No,
No.
because we didn't even have a pharmacy, did we? We had a drugstore, but we never had a pharmacy. Doctor gave you your pills.
well, I think we had both, really, didn't we? Couldn't you get
I-
pills up there too?
I don't remember.
I can remember the doctors all had pills, yeah, when I was little.
And then when the gypsies had come to town,
What happened there?
I don't remember.
nothing really.
My brother used to scare me with jokes.
Then down on the south end of town, where the ball diamond and soccer field is now, that one used to be a golf course.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they had the Jack Ripley show. And the depot, if you wanted to play hooky, you went to the depot.
That's something I never did.
I did when I was maybe first grade or something. My brother didn't want to go to school that day, and he always had to take me. So we played hooky all day. And one time, Irene, my sister, and Ramona Reinhardt, they played hooky. But they were so dumb, they wrote their names on the windows, and somebody seen it and reported.
Fitted them to the school. When you were talking about the golf carts, you said that the Jack Rippey show?
Was it Ripley, wasn't it? Ripley?
I can't
You can't-
remember that, no.
Well, I was just real little. It was a tent show.
I don't really think that
Kinda
was a
like-
real golf course down there. I don't think it's big enough, is it?
Oh,
They
yeah.
used to play golf down
I know
there,
they used to
but
play there, but
I
Yeah.
d-
Well, it wasn't big golf, but
So it was like Ripley's Believe It or Not, was it maybe? Like kind of like a freak show or something, or?
not a freak show, no. I don't know. They
You can't remember?
uh,
I have to look that up. Jack Ripley show.
there's a Jack Ripley who's an American singer, songwriter, and comedian.
I don't even mention it.
Well, it was something you remembered though.
I don't remember that. Haven't showed.
I remember because I had a boil, or what was it they called them at that time, carbuncles or something like that. And my dad had to bring me to town to get a lamps.
Okay.
And did we say it was Duffin?
There was a Dr. Duffin in
Did it,
town,
and
yeah.
on the way home, he said, we could stop at the tent show. And we used to have a lot of stuff come in town.
Oh, I can remember circuses coming in.
Yeah,
They'd either be in the lakeside parking lot
Yeah.
or down here by the depot. They used to come too.